What if you could read faster, remember more, and help your kids thrive academically, all without adding more stress to your day? In this episode, I'm joined by Howard Stephen Berg, the Guinness World Record holder for the world's fastest reader. From growing up in Brooklyn's toughest neighborhoods to training U.S. Special Forces and Fortune 500 leaders, Howard brings brain-based learning strategies that are simple, powerful, and life-changing. Whether you're heading back to school or helping your child stay focused in this fast-paced world, this episode is your crash course in learning smarter, not harder. Hey friends, today's episode is about helping your kids and yourself learn at lightning speed. My guest, Howard Berg, went from gang-ridden Brooklyn to the Guinness Book of World Records. He taught the U.S. Special Forces, Fortune 500 companies, and now he's here to teach you and your family how to unlock the full power of your brain. Howard, how are you today? Thank you for joining us.
I'm great. I'm looking forward to the interview.
Thank you. So growing up in Brooklyn, huh? And you became the fastest reader. Do you want to tell me a little bit about that?
It wasn't a great place to grow up, at least not where I grew up in the projects. It was like West Side Story without the music and dancing. I met Bernardo literally. He had a knife. I was mugged over 100 times. My dad was pistol whipped. I found one safe place, the library. Gang kids apparently would rather be dead than caught in a library. And that's how I got to be the fastest reader in the world, because I read a lot and it was safe. The worst thing with the book was a paper cut. It was a lot better than a knife on your throat. So
Oh, that's funny.
it's true.
That's funny. I
And
mean, I
I
guess
had
you'd be doing.
college reading when I was 11 because that's what I was doing.
So you got to be the fastest reader, like, and so obviously you learned that you were the fastest reader because it was the Guinness Book of World Records, right?
Yeah.
What made you want to do like, you thought you were fast, but like to compete in something like that? And how do you go about doing the Guinness Book of World Records? I always wonder, do you have to call them and have them come out and they watch you do it, or how does that work?
So you're required to substantiate your records. They told me the average record has one news interview. It might be the newspaper or a TV reporter. I had 5 videos from 5 different news shows in 5 different cities and 5 different newspaper articles from 5 different reporters in 5 other cities. So I had 10 because they said nobody had more than one, and I had 10. And they said it's very unlikely 10 reporters in 10 different cities were all related to me in some way. And they all gave them the same. And you could see the video. On one show, I read a book on the physiology of nightmares in 90 seconds. And then the science editor quizzed me, and I got everything right. And that was pretty. One show, I read an 1,100-page book in 20 minutes twice, and then they quizzed me and I got 100. And 3 years later, they put me back on the show, didn't give me the book, and quizzed me again on the book I read 3 years ago. And I got the answers right. And the person interviewing says, I read the book too, and you remember more than I do.
So do you have like a how do they say that, like the I don't even know how to what am I
Photographic memory?
yeah, you have like do you think that you do, or you're not sure, or
No, I don't have a photographic
no?
memory. I don't. Kim Peeks was real Rain Man. He knew the phone number of every person in America, but he also had to go to Walmart for his underwear, and he also had to watch Wapner at 4 o'clock. So there are some downsides to having that skill. I'm more of a normal person. I can turn it on when I need to and shut it off when I just want to be a regular person. You
Well,
don't
you
want
are
to
a
walk
regular.
around all day with a brain that's learning at 80 pages a minute. You would pretty much be
Yeah,
non-functional very quickly.
you'd be a walking computer. How did you
Yeah.
transition your techniques into tools that are going to help, like can help families and kids? How did you go? How did you transition? Like, okay, I've got this gift, and now I'm gonna teach others how to do it too.
That's a great story. It started in college. I went to college at 17, to major in biology. I went to the State University of New York, Binghamton, which is the crown jewel of the state university system in New York. And in the second half of my junior year, I got interested in the brain and learning. So I told the dean I also want to major in psychology. And he looked at me and said, "You got 1 year left. You haven't had one psych course. You have to do the 4 year program in 1 year and finish the bio program. You have to take 6 science courses a term, 2 4-hour labs, 18 credits of science, and I had 3 jobs. I was working part time, 18 hours a week." He said, "You're not smart enough." And that's when I
Don't you
realized they never
hold on,
taught
don't
me
you
how
hate it
to
when
learn.
people tell you no? When people tell you no, that makes you really want to do it, right? Am I right?
Exactly. And I also realized they never taught me how to learn. In all the years I'd been in school, no one ever told me why I was having trouble learning anything. So as I took the psych courses, I learned about learning. In fact, one of my first courses was called Learning. And I'm learning this material, and I'm saying, why don't they use any of this for people? They're making monkeys and fish and rats extremely intelligent, but how about people? And I started
Right.
using it. I got up to 80 pages a minute. I did finish the psych program in 1 year. I took the GRE, which is an SAT for graduate school. I read 48 books in 3 nights, like genetics, biochemistry, cell physiology, plant systematics. You wouldn't call that light reading. I got an 800, which was in the 99th percentile in the world. And then when I got out, I taught for 10 years, and it was awful because the school was in 2% graduated and they wouldn't let me help the kids. So I started my own school. And my students were doing college level courses at 11 in a week. They did
11?
11. They did one group did a 30 chapter book called Lifelong Developmental Psych. It's a sophomore course in college. They were 11 to 15. They did the 30 chapters in 1 week, and they took the CLEP, which is an AP test. 15 out of 18 got full college credit on a sophomore college exam for full credit in 1 week at 11 to 15. So it wasn't just me doing it, I taught it. And then I did a commercial at Nightingale Conan. It made 65 million. Unfortunately, they didn't give me the 65 million, but I made 65 million. And we did a double blind study by it was done with another organization. I wasn't allowed to be part of it. That's why it's double blind. They used the Nelson Denny. That's a standardized test for speed and comprehension. 100 random people took the program without me teaching it. It was the recordings. And 50 did the A and B test because it tested before and after. And the other did B and A to make sure the B test did make them look better because it was simple. The first test is graduate level, the second test is first grade. Yeah, you're going to read a lot better on the second
Right.
test. So everyone, regardless of which one they did first, doubled to quadrupled in 4 hours with no loss of comprehension. So I can honestly say a normal person can at least double to quadruple their learning rate. Most doubled, but that's in 4 hours without practice or doing it in something they personally would like to read and know. So anyone who could go 100% faster in 4 hours with great comprehension in a subject they know nothing about says a lot for the technique. And that's how it got started.
How would they apply? Okay, so you're teaching them to learn or read faster, learn more over a shorter time, and they're going to get to the point faster. Basically, they're going to get to that degree if that's what they want, or they're going to learn the skill. Like, let's say, for a corporation that wants to teach an in-house course or something, so that's basically how they would apply it, right? Or how does a normal parent use your gifts to like help their kids excel in school? Or can it just be a gradual thing, or can you just really excel these kids
4 hours.
right out of high school?
Yeah, oh, before high school, they started in middle school. Most of my students who started in junior high never finished high school. That doesn't sound good. They graduated college before they got out of high school. The average student in the program graduated high school with 20 to 45 college credits. Many of them started college as sophomores and they finished college in 2 to 3 years. I don't know if you know this, but the average today in America, the average student takes 6 years to do a 4 year degree. They can't read or write quickly enough, so they take less classes each term, and it takes an extra 2 years of tuition. Now, my grandkids are in college. The tuition's $95,000 a year. So an
Right. That
extra
extra
two
year is
years is one
expensive.
hundred and
Yeah.
eighty thousand dollars without the room and board and the dating and the clothes and everything. So you're looking at maybe a
Bad
quarter of a
choices.
million dollars an extra cost because your kid can't read and write fast enough. So I would say that's a good incentive for any parent to be concerned. When a normal kid in my school was doing it in 2 to 3 years with A averages. Can I give you some examples?
Yes, please.
Stephen graduated University of Texas at Arlington at 16, majored in economics, all A's. Went to Oklahoma University at 18 for a master's degree, not a bachelor's degree, a master's in math. That is not an easy master's program.
No.
They paid him $27,000 when he was 18 to teach math to undergraduates. They gave him free room and board and books and tuition. He graduates at 19, all A's, one B. And this is a funny story. So he calls me up and he says, I don't know what to tell my mom. I never got a B before. I said, Stephen, you finished college at 16, you got all A's. You got a master's in math at 19, all A's, one B. I think she'll keep you. There was a happy ending, she did, but she made him promise not to do it again. He's now a professor at Yale. Justin was a C student, normal kid. This other kid was a genius, made him smarter, but he was a genius. Justin was a C student at 11. We taught him how to learn. Every school should teach learning before they teach anything. After he learned how to learn, he finished high school at 15, got his 2 year degree at 17, his bachelor's at 19, master's in English at 21, professor of English at 22. Who would have said a 11-year-old C student would be an A student and go to college and become a professor at 22? And the third one, this is one of the best. This was Brad. Brad went to Thomas Edison, which is an online program from Rutgers. They let you take exams to CLEP out, not take the classes. You just take the courses and you pass it on your own. 90%. They could do up to 90. He did his bachelor's degree, the 4 year degree, in 6 months. Now, he's a genius. I'm not going to tell you that's normal. It's not. But he did it in 6 months using what I taught him, became a missionary. He learned Chinese in 3 weeks. This is what he was doing or what we taught him. He sold his company when he was 40 for $38 million dollars and said what I taught him gave him the ability to do that. So it's not just about school and learning. We live in a knowledge based economy. And now with AI, they say 30% of all the white collar jobs will be gone in the next 10 years. What are they going to do? They're going to have to go back and learn something that they can do that the machine isn't doing well. And I'm teaching them how to learn and stay on top of whatever it is they want to do in life. So today, the only job security anyone has is in between their ears. If you can learn and think and adjust and master new things quickly, you've got nothing to worry about. Things change, you change too. If you don't know how to do it really quickly, you're going to wonder what happened when your position is now being done by a robot. And what are you supposed to do to feed your family? So it's not just about learning and reading and school and grades, it's about life.
Like
It's
adapting to
changing
changing. Yeah, adapt because AI is, for better or for worse, well, I think for better, but AI is going to change how we answer emails
everything.
and
Everything.
everything.
I have
And
a
also
theory.
it's also going to make us lazy. So
Well, a lot of people thinking it's going to kill us. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think what's going to happen is and this is in the next 20, 30, 40 years, they're going to figure out how to put a computer chip in our brain. So we're part of the AI.
But
You want to
they're
speak?
already doing that. They're already putting chips into people that are
Yes, yes,
quadriplegic, and
yes,
they're able,
yes.
yes, and then that's going to be insane. I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
if I'm going to opt out to have some chip in my brain. I mean, I don't even
Well,
want TikTok like following me and getting all my data. No, but I don't
Well,
care.
imagine you want to speak Spanish, so you speak it. You want to speak German, you're speaking it. You want to play guitar, you know how to play guitar. Whatever it is you need to know, it's in the internet and you're plugged in and it's part of you. So we're going to probably meld with the AI. I don't see it happening tomorrow or the next day, but in the next 50 years, maybe less, because it's growing so exponentially quickly. When they figure out how the brain actually stores and uses data and how to integrate electronically with that process, they'll be doing it. And we're going to be doing some incredible things. We'll be like Data in Star Trek. We'll all be plugged in and super smart and able to do and accomplish anything we dream of doing because the AI is now part of us instead of against us.
I'm all for AI. I truly am, but and I don't believe it's going to take over the universe. But like that's just silly. I mean, that's like Y2K kind of talk. But what? But I wanted to back up a smidgen about because we had a really good conversation before about my son, and I was wondering first before I get to that how okay. So you're talking about kids should learn or learn teachers should teach to kids how to learn before they get English and writing and all the other things, right?
Reading.
Reading,
You're teaching them how to read. Teach them how to remember what you just taught them.
right? Because comprehension and retainment of what they're reading, a lot of kids will read it and they'll go, "I just don't know what I just read." Like they
Or,
do it because
or,
like da 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 da, but they're not you know
or
internalizing it.
or they remember what they read but didn't understand. So I read the calculus book. I can plug numbers into every formula in the book, no problem. But I can't solve a real world problem because I don't know what formula to use. And if I have to
Um,
use a couple of them in a sequence, I don't know which ones to put into the sequence. So they're learning data but they don't know what it does or how it works or why they need it or how to apply it in real world situations, which is a different level of learning. Just because you can remember facts doesn't mean you can use them in a meaningful way. And I'm teaching more than reading, I'm teaching learning, understanding, how to connect the dots, how to remember it when you need to remember it. You ever take a test? They ask a question, I read this last night. Why don't I remember it? Because no
right.
one taught you how to recall after the test. An hour later, it's oh, I remember it now. It's a little late.
I
So
kind of
you
feel
need
like I kind of feel like you're a gem that nobody knows about or that it does or aren't paying attention to it. I'm wondering how can you scale this to where you could help teachers that are like kindergarten or first grade or second grade or what grade do you think would be the good age for them to start your program or something similar or you know what I'm saying? Like you should take this
two
worldwide.
versions. There's two versions. One version's pre-reading and one version's post-reading. So the main program is 11 and up, and there's a reason. The first 3 years of school is how do you read. The first grade you read to learn is fourth grade. That's when they give you a history book. That's when they give you a song. And if you can't read, you're out of luck in history and science and math because they're not giving it to you anymore. You're doing it on your own and you don't know how. So that's when
Yeah.
they will fall behind. So after 2 years of that, you're 11 and you've had 2 years to master the language of English. Before that, English is still a foreign language. You don't know any words. You're learning to learn words. You're learning how to comprehend and put sentences together. So 11 and up is the sweet spot. I've had students as young as 8, and they were in Toronto, and they were reading 5 seconds a page at 8 years old. But for the pre-readers, the youngest of the young, I'd say don't teach them how to learn, read faster. Teach them memory skills, how to remember what they are learning, how to prioritize, how to set up a time schedule, how to stay focused and concentrate, how to control your emotions. 90% of the problems in school are not that the students can't learn, but they're emotionally immature. They act out. And there's nothing being taught to teachers on how to change emotional behavior and restructure it. And that's what I do. And I've had a lot of success with that. That's why I was teaching the military how to create if you'd like, I could show you one.
Yeah, let's do it.
So I was working with the Special Forces at Fort Bragg and the Royal Thai Army in Bangkok. Both of the militaries brought me in. I taught them learning, but I also taught them emotions. Very well trained, but some missions don't go the way they planned. And when you're getting shot at and you don't remember what they taught you to do, you could get killed. So if you get, oh my God, I'm getting shot at, that's not good. You're supposed to stay focused and do what they taught you so you don't get killed. But if your emotions come in, and that's how people get anxious on tests, you're not going to perform well. So I'm going to show you one thing I taught them, how to stay awake. They were awake 3, 4 days, no sleep. That's hard for even a young person. It's almost impossible when you're older, but as a young person, it's difficult. I'm going to show you to instantly wake up, whether you're a kid taking a test or one of the adults at work, or even a mom that's fatigued from the day. They have a lot on their plate too. Whether you're just staying home, that's a big job. Being a mom isn't a back. Some people say, "Oh, you're just a mom." No, that's a big job. If
Right.
they got paid for what they do, most people couldn't afford to pay them.
Well, I
So
mean, daycare is $1,200 for one kid,
there
so
you
that's a
go.
month. So at least I'd be making that much. So,
My son's, his wife and him are both professionals, so their daycare in New York was 65,000 a year for full time because they
shut the
both
front
had a.
door. That's crazy.
So well, fortunately, they made very good money, but that's more than a lot of people make a year,
Mm-mm.
and it was very, very,
It's like might as well stay home.
well, she was a nurse practitioner, so she had the ability to be a doctor nurse, and he was the CFO of a company in like 20, 30 states. So
Well, I guess you
they
can't stay
made
home
good
when you're.
money, but it was still, they had a kid and they wanted to make sure he's well taken care of. They needed a full time nanny. And then he went to classes in school, and the nanny took him. And when they got home from work, of course, they spent a lot of time with him, but it costs a lot. It's New York, wasn't cheap. So I want the people watching stand up. If I stand up, you'll see my navel. So I'm
Yeah,
not
I won't
going
stand.
to do.
I'll
You
pretend I'm
don't want to
standing.
see my navel. I
You
don't
don't
have
want to
a
see mine
six
either.
pack. I have a 36 pack. So you don't want to see that. But if you're not me, stand up. And I'm going to show you how to instantly wake up. I want you to take your left hand and touch your right shoulder, just like I'm showing you. And take your right hand, touch your left shoulder. Alternate, left to right, right
Oh,
to
like,
left. It's like the Macarena, but without the music. Now, if you're standing, you take your left hand, touch your right knee, and your right hand touch your left knee, and your knee's going to move. So both sides of your brain are connecting. Now,
not hard.
raise, raise your hand up, put your thumb in your hand like I am. Say this like you mean it. I feel great.
I feel great.
Yes, with passion. Yes. Don't go, I feel great, because that's how you'll feel later. No, I feel great. Yes. So we'll do 3 sets of these, starting with the shoulder taps at my speed. Slow first. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Knees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How do you feel? I feel great.
I feel great.
Yes. Little
Yes.
faster.
Oh, gosh.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Knees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How do you feel?
I feel great.
Yes. Last one, as fast as you can go. And if you're
Oh my God. Okay.
standing, stand back from the computer so you don't bang your knees. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How do you feel? I feel great. Yes. Feel great. Smile.
Oh, that's funny.
Sit down. Now, the latest studies show, well, if you do this 3 times, you know what happens? Nothing. And now you probably would like something. So let me give you the next steps.
How many calories did I burn? That's what I want to know.
Not enough.
Not enough.
Not enough. When I go to the gym and I look at my calories, I say, oh, that's a glass of water's worth of calories right
I know.
there.
Like,
So the latest studies show a habit takes 90 days to form. If you do this every day, slow, medium, fast, every day, and now you're in an important exam, if you're a student, or you're a parent and you're getting tired, but you don't want to drink coffee so you won't fall asleep later, grab your thumb and say to yourself, I feel great. Yes. Every time you did that, you felt great. This is the stimulus that triggers the response. Remember Pavlov rang a bell, fed the dog, rang a bell. Eventually the dog drooled. This will make you wake up because every time you did it for 90 days was after you stimulated your left brain, your right brain, and both together. And you'll wake up. I have a story about this. Uh, the longest running show in history was the Joe Franklin show. One person, 50 years, one person. And I was on the
oh,
last 3 weeks of his 50-year run. And during the commercial, I asked him, what's your secret? How did you get to be the longest running show in history? What did you do? That's a good question. And he smiled and he said, sincerity. And when you can fake that, you can do anything. Just like that. I want you to
so
know
true.
you can't fake sincerity for 50 years. I don't
Right.
care how good you are,
Right.
not for 50 years. If
No.
you don't feel great when you're doing it, you won't feel great when you try to trigger it. That's why I want you to feel the energy, feel the excitement of waking your brain up. So when you want it to work, it's going to work, not because you're great. That's how you'll feel later and you won't get any benefit. So I
What's
taught
the role that humor plays in the learning retention game?
very important. Uh, if people are having fun when you're teaching them, the endorphins are flowing. It makes their brain feel great. And when the brain's happy, it's like, what made me feel like that? And it wants to remember what you just taught them
Yeah.
because when you've been in school, you've had teachers where it's like, someone make the bell ring. For the love of God, make the bell ring. I can't stand it anymore. And minutes were like hours. And then you had teachers you didn't even realize the hours up. That was so much fun and so stimulating. I try to be that person that it's
I try
fun.
to I live my life through humor too. Sometimes it's self-deprecating humor, but I live through humor because why not, you know? I mean, I married my husband because he's freaking funny and cute, but he's really funny and I wanted to live my life with somebody that was funny, you know? I didn't want to be with a boring person.
I helped launch Comedy Central with
Oh,
Dennis
that's great.
Leary, and I was also Jon Stewart's first guest. Now, do you want to see why biologists don't get asked to do comedy?
Why?
Okay, this is a biology joke. A
Okay.
mushroom walks in a bar. The bartender says, "Get out, we don't serve your kind." The mushroom said, "Why not? I'm a fungi." And that's why no one wants us doing
That's a
comedy.
dad joke. That's probably something my husband will tell. He tells a lot of dad jokes. He's really funny. He's one of those quiet, silent people that if he's in a room with a bunch of people, he won't talk or anything. But then you get to know him, and they're like knee slapping, laughing their butts off because he's so funny. Because I get off on tangents. One thing I wanted to talk about too, is we talked about this before, was my son. And there's a lot of kids out there that are, you know, have autism or have learning disabilities or are very smart, like my kid. Tell him, say, no way, I'm taken right now. Say, I can't answer.
I'm shutting the power
It's
off.
okay. it's a work day. So, no, but so like my son is super, super smart. He'd be in class and the teacher'd be, Mr. Nell, your son, he's not paying attention and he's walking around and he's distracting the others. And I'm like, okay, well, what is he getting in the class right now? And she's like, 98%. It's because he's so dang smart. You know what I mean? He's so smart and he tested out of high school.
Boring. The teacher's
Yeah,
boring.
right.
Well,
So,
that's a common problem. I'll tell you a story about one of my students. This student had third grade reading in ninth grade, so they were going to put her in a regular high school, and they were putting her in special ed. Third grade reading in ninth grade, and her parents were hysterical crying when they came to my school. They're saying, you're going to learn to tie your shoes and comb your hair. And maybe if you do what we teach you, you'll get to say, welcome to Walmart one day. You'll build up. That was like their life mission, and they didn't want that for their daughter. So we worked with her. We said, we're not sure if we can help. Everyone's different. So you're going to have to help us and do a lot of the things we're teaching her to help her. But if you do what we teach you, we think we can help her. So here's what we taught her: how to learn. We taught her how to understand. When we got done, she finished high school and got a 2-year college degree with all A's. When the kids in high school she started with first got out of high school, she was 4 years past that, plus 2 years of college, with an A average, a full scholarship to Baylor, graduates, gets a bachelor's and a master's degree at 22. What was different? We taught her how to learn. We found out what she was doing wrong. She didn't see words and sentences as sentences. She saw the words. She saw a list: 1 word, 2 words, 3 words, 4 words. She didn't see hot dog. She saw hot and dog. She didn't see United States of America. She saw United and States and of and America. Didn't connect it. And we taught her what she was doing wrong and practiced teaching her brain how to connect. And her mother worked with her. That's what happened. So I can't say that I work with every kid because there's different problems and everyone's unique. But I can say that many of my students had ADD and were dyslexic, and they were doing college classes at 11 because we taught their brain how to learn in their style. Everyone's different. Like my memory, there's 3 hours of memory material. There isn't one way to memorize. If you're learning a language, you might do one thing. If you're reading a novel, you do another. If you're reading a science book, you might do another. And it might be different. What I'm doing doesn't work for your brain,
right.
but it does for yours in that subject. So we give them a tool chest and we show them how to adapt the tools to their learning style because everyone learns differently. And by teaching them how to learn using their own style and different subjects, most people do something better than another. You might do better at science than math. You might do better at language than science. And so the language master is struggling with biology. The biology genius is having trouble learning the new language. It's not the same. So you can't do it the same. And everyone's brain is different. I don't say do it my way because my way works for me. I say, here's the ways that work. Let's find the one that works best for you in that subject. Because the same technique working in this subject may not do anything for you in that other subject because of how your brain works. And that's the way it should be because everyone's unique and the learning system should adjust to the learner and not say everyone do it the way Howard does it because that's what
Right.
Howard does.
You know what's going on with my daughter too? I mean, my son is super uber smart, but he doesn't apply himself. But so has a failure to launch. He's still living at home, and he tried some colleges, but he doesn't test well. He can, like I was talking to you before, he was taking the a math class, I'm not sure if what it was, statistics or something, but he was finding the errors in the homework and was telling the teacher like, "Oh, this is wrong." And everybody else is going to get wrong because you have it wrong in the homework.
They hate
And,
that. Oh, they hate
yeah.
that.
But then, so and the teacher's like, "Thanks, Parker," you know, and then when it came time for the test, he'd bomb them. Like he couldn't take the test.
Well, That's part of what I was talking about, EQ. What's happening is he's getting nervous taking the test. And when you're nervous, you can't remember what you learned. Learning, this is important, is state dependent. What does that mean? I'm home. I'm having a hot cocoa. I'm wearing my slippers and my pajamas, and I'm studying my science material. I go to school. I'm not in my pajamas and I'm not sipping hot cocoa. It's a cold, sterile room with a stern person sitting in the front, and everyone sit rigid and don't look. It's a totally
Right.
different state of mind than the one I learned in. The Russians did an experiment. They trained people to drink vodka, and then they gave them nonsense words to memorize. And while they were drunk, they could remember the syllables. When they sobered up, different state. They didn't remember anything they learned. All gone. But when they drank again and got in the state they were in when they did the learning, they remembered it again. So the
Is it like
state
muscle memory, or like it's kind of like a muscle memory state?
state
Okay, the state.
emotional
Okay,
states need to
emotional.
match. The state you're in when you're learning is the state you need to be in when you're testing. And so we're training our students on how to get in an alpha theta state, a relaxed, focused, aware state, and then how to trigger it, just like we triggered I feel great. They triggered the alpha theta state. Now, during the test, they learn to trigger that state that they did when they studied, and the states match. And they're not getting nervous. They're getting A pluses, and they're 11 years old and they're taking college classes. The adults were really angry. Some of them went to college where they took the classes, and they're like in a bio class. The kids 11, they're running a 99 average, and the 40-year-old sitting next to them just got a C minus, and they can't curve because they got a 99. You can't curve it. And the guy's like, what's going on? Why is this kid getting 99? I'm getting 40. Because they learned how to learn and you didn't. And that's what every school should do, but they won't. Can I tell you a story?
Yes, please do. I love your stories.
I was in New York. I mentioned I taught in a school where 2% graduated. They actually shut the school after I left. Not because I left, because no one graduated. That's a true story. Well, I went to the principal. I said, I'm the fastest reader in the world and I can help you. I can teach them how to learn. Now, I'm not going to go from 2% to 99. A lot of these kids couldn't read and write. They were 19 years old. They couldn't multiply by 10 at 19, literally, because I quizzed them. I said, but I could teach them how to learn, and I could take those numbers from 2%, 20, 30%, maybe 40, which is an enormous improvement overall. And he said, it's not in the curriculum. I'm like, well, what am I going to do to ruin your numbers? You got a 2% success rate.
Right.
But I couldn't say that because he's the principal. So I'm in my course. I'm teaching biology. And one of my kids, he raises his hand. He said, I don't know how to do the homework. I says, well, the answers to the questions at the back of your chapter are in the book. I don't know how to find them. So I'm showing him how to find the answers to the bio book homework questions in the bio book that we gave him in school. And the principal comes in and he sees what I'm doing. And he says, what are you doing? And I said, he doesn't know how to do the homework. He's asking me to show him how to find the answers to the bio homework. I told you not to teach learning. You're not doing your job. You're teaching learning. And he wrote down that I wasn't working, that I wasn't doing my job. I was teaching learning instead of biology. It was a bio book in the course. It was a kid in the bio course using the bio book, asking for help, and it wasn't my job to do that. That's what schools are like.
Why do you think they're so resistant? Okay, so let me before you answer that, quick story of my own. My daughter too. Also, she has a intellectual disability. She was just diagnosed with 16p. It's a chromosomal intellectual disability, and they don't believe that she's 15. She's going to be a sophomore next year, but they're like, she can't go into a normal classroom because she can't emotionally with her feelings, and so she can't emotionally get through it, and so she's pigeonholed to the classroom of the special education. I pressed and pressed for her to have at least one class, and that's the math class in a normal setting so that she gets at least that, you know what I mean? But so now, these schools, they don't want children like my daughter or my son to be like, they try to put my son into a special ed class, and they were very special. Okay, my son is just not that like that, you know what I mean? He just wasn't listening to them. But they were about to put him in a super special education class, and I had to fight as a parent to say no, that won't happen on for my son. But my daughter, she is a little bit more special than I had
That's not the
understood.
reason they're doing it. Do you want to know
Yeah,
the reason they're doing it?
yeah,
Because
tell
I do
me.
know the reason.
Okay.
They get more money for a special ed
um,
student, a lot more money, a couple of thousand more a year for every special ed student. It's a company, it's a business. Do you want this kid in a regular class where you get 3,000 or 4,000 less a year? It means less money for the school, less money for the books, less money to pay teachers? Or do you want her in a class where you're going to make more money? What does a business do? I know you
right.
don't think it's a business. Most people don't realize school is a business
Yeah,
and they
so
make
true.
more money. And another thing that people don't realize, if you most of the students in special ed will be minorities, and you know why? They get more money for the minority than the white kid. And so they push them in there because it's even more ka-ching. They get more money for each of those kids. What they should be doing is teaching them how to learn, how to think, how to control their emotions, how to focus, how to function. No,
Do you
that's not
get
what
do
you
you,
do.
do you get children like my okay, so my daughter, she's actually a really smart kid. She has a really good memory. Like when she was a little girl, very small, I would say 5 6, we had watched in the bedroom, we had watched a video on CD or DVD, excuse me. And 3 or 4 months later, I needed that CD. We were going to watch it as a family, but it wasn't in the case that we hold them in. She remembered exactly where it was. She's like, "Oh, it's in this thing," or she knew exactly where it was from 3 months ago. She just has a really good memory. She's always had a very good memory. I'm wondering if, like my child, would, with having her emotional, because she has anxiety, like high anxiety, if someone like my daughter would flourish in your program.
Yes,
And maybe
she
I was
would.
told she probably won't be able to be out on her own when she's younger or older. And I'm wondering, maybe I could get her through at least college, and then she could have like a normal life. You know what I mean?
They're focusing on the wrong thing, and this is the big problem in school. In school, if you're not good at everything, you're not good at anything. So you failed Spanish, but you got a 90 in biology, but you failed Spanish. You're
Right.
focusing on what you don't do. In the
Right.
real world, you don't need to know everything. Most people are good at something. And if you're good at something that people will pay you to do, you're fine.
Right.
Instead of saying, "Are you smart?" which is how most people think, you should say, "What makes them smart? What talent do they have? What skill do they excel at?" And school should be focusing on developing the best of the person. Maybe it's music. Paul McCartney was not a good student in certain subjects, but he was very good at music. He's made $1 billion, so he wasn't an astrophysicist, but he made $1 billion in music. So I'd say good for him. He's not stupid. He just had a different gift. You need to find out what she's excelling at, what she loves, what she has a passion for, and get her books and subscriptions to magazines on the topic she wants to devour. You know, my son hated reading, which of course bothered me to no end because my daughter wasn't like that, but my son was. So he loved video games. He had a passion. So I got him a subscription to the Sony game magazine. And every month it taught them how to beat all the Sony games that he had. And he waited at the mailbox for that magazine. And he devoured it. And he memorized every secret, every trick. He was the best video game player in his school. His teacher called us up one night and we were like, what did he do? I'm trying to beat Zelda, and I hear Alex is the expert.
He sounds
She
like my
called
son.
she called he's doing great. He's a CFO. He makes over 300,000 a year. It's not, are they smart? No. What is she good at? Figure out what she's excelling at. She doesn't have to be good at everything. She just needs to be good at something. Now, it's great if you're good at everything. Few people are. But you know what? One of my best friends, D minus student in college, he'd say, that doesn't sound very good. He made $3.5 million on stage selling his product in 90 minutes. Does that sound like a dummy to you? Three
No.
and a half. He's sold $1 billion worth of products in the last 15 years. A billion with a B. D minus in marketing in college. What's the difference? He's good at marketing.
Yeah.
And what they taught him had no value in what he knew how to do. He's
So
made a
true.
billion dollars. I want to see one of his teachers that teach business that made $1 billion and could make $3.5 million in 90 minutes in front of an audience. Very few people. He's not stupid, but
Right.
he found his gift and he's using it and he's helping a lot of people with his gift. And that's the problem. A lot of people like you are looking at her and say, geez, I don't know. No, she's got a good memory. There's going to be things she's good at, really good at.
Right. Just finding what
Push,
those are.
expose, find out, see what she loves, see what she enjoys, and then build on that. Give her more of what she loves and excels at. So she'll have a life skill, whatever it is that she can excel at. Now, the emotional stuff you can fix. I'll give you a secret. You can't stop depression or anxiety. Most people, when they're nervous or anxious, say, I'm going to not be nervous or I'm not going to be. The more you go, I'm not, the worse it gets. I'll prove it to you. I'm going to control your brain right now.
Okay.
Don't think of Mickey Mouse eating a pizza. What just popped in your head?
Mickey
A
Mouse?
picture of Mickey Mouse eating a pizza.
Right.
The negative words don't know, they are not understood by the unconscious. If you say don't take drugs, which is what they did, the brain hears on the unconscious level, take drugs. The
Drugs. They
don't
just hear
part
drugs.
disappears, and this is the reality. It's true. You can test it. Don't be don't want to eat lunch right now. Right now, I want to eat lunch. Whatever you're told not to do, that's what your brain says. I want to do it. So that's not a way to eliminate anxiety or depression. How do you get rid of it? You don't. What you do is you create the opposite state. Instead of worrying about how anxious you are, you think of how calm and relaxed you are, but you're not really yet. But you created that state by your thinking. It's not here, it's here in your head because what you think is causing it. If you stop thinking it and think of something else that's calming and soothing and wonderful, the other thing goes away because you're not thinking about it anymore. It doesn't go away in one day or 2 days. It might take months. But over time, it only exists as long as you think about it. And you're not
Yeah.
thinking about it, you're
Got
thinking
it.
about how calm and focused and happy you are. And over time, that becomes what you think. And the other thing disappears because it never existed to begin with. You can create the negative state by your thinking, you can create the positive state. I teach people how to do this. And when you're doing it correctly, you can eliminate a lot of those negative thoughts, anxieties, fears, and depressions that are help holding many of our children back, not because they aren't intelligent, but it's their thinking. Wrong thinking is creating a lot of the problems, and right thinking is the solution.
Yeah, I could talk to you for hours and hours. I mean, I thought I am just so like everything you're saying is just seeping in. I'm excited to I think I'm going to I'd like to talk off camera because I think maybe my daughter would benefit. I mean, my son too, but my daughter's still young, and I am at the mercy of the school to teach her. And if I just feel like maybe she just needs to learn, and if we do it now, maybe she can get through high school. Because what they're doing is she's going to graduate with a certificate, and she's not going to graduate with a diploma. And that's what they do for special ed kids. They say, we're going to let you pass through, and then we'll work with you for the next 4 years after high school to help you get a job and all these other things.
Money. They're getting
The
paid.
program continues for another 4 years because my daughter has a label of autism, and now she has this, a label of a chromosomal disability. And so now they want to keep her pigeonholed. But if she could learn to learn, then maybe she could say, no, I am going to try these other classes. Let's try it,
Your son can take the same program. And I mentioned to you what you can do with your son off camera, but there's programs for him also where he doesn't do well in a structured environment. He could go to Thomas Edison or Excelsior where he's testing out. He's self-guided erudition, self-guided learning. And your daughter also.
like they could read the books. They could read the books. You could teach
test
them
out.
and test out of these courses
out. So
get your
if
degree.
he's in college, okay, you're taking American history. Who's the first American president? It's George Washington. Great. Now you're in college American history. Who's the first president? George Washington. Very good. What's the difference? What's the difference? It's $5,000 in college. So while you're in high school, you get a college history book. There's just a little more. Who's the first vice president? First secretary of treasury, the first postmaster general. You learn a few more names, a few more events, a few more wars, and a few more inventions. About this much more. Because you already learned that. You're going to learn that. Now you're at the college level. You take the American history CLEP exam, pass it. You don't take history in college if you go to a club-friendly college. You already passed it. And that's what my students were doing. They were graduating high school as sophomores because they already finished the first year of college by taking exams. And it's not hard to do. It's just you have to know how to study. You have to know how to remember. You have to know how to act. What do you do when you're confused? What do you do when you don't understand? By the way, I have a free book for our listeners. It's HowieBook.fun. That's easy to read. HowieBook.fun. It's a free book. There's no charge on learning. And that's a good starting place. I would recommend for you to enroll your daughter in my program and give it to your son and take it with you're a podcaster. You got to learn a lot of things for your shows. All of you can do it together. And I'll tell you something, if you and your daughter and son do it together, they'll do it because it's a family experience. It isn't you're doing it, go off and do it, and you do it and no, I'm doing it too. And everyone's together and it's a family and the adult gets more money at work. They learn how to think better and become more productive. The student gets higher grades. They both win. The difference is what you read. They're going to read a history book. You're going to read a novel by one of your interviewees. But reading is reading, memory is memory, learning is learning. What changes is what you learn, not how it's done. So do it. Now the book is a freebie, and when you get the book, it'll give you information on my program if you want to try it. And you know how to reach me, so you could call me if you want.
So I'm going to, well, I hate to say this because I'm hopefully by the time this episode gets launched, my website will be done, but I'm working with a company and they're taking their sweet butt time. And I'm an entrepreneur, so I'm a go kind of girl. I kind of feel like I just want to tell them, just let me do it. I can do it myself.
Go to clickfunnels.com. Do it yourself.
Yeah, I should have. I've already
it's
paid
not
for
as hard as you think. It's not as hard as you think. It's all templates, and you just plug in what you need. But that's a suggestion. It's what I did. I had to learn how to do it because I didn't know how. It took me 2 days, and I made a website, and then I had to learn how to do other things. But
the thing is, I paid these guys to do it, so I'm hoping that I've been putting some pressure down. So I'm hoping they'll have it in the next week. But what I'm saying is, on my website, I will have all your information, and they'll be able to go and find you on my website. And where, though, until then, can you tell them where they can find you and your program and your books, and talk about a little bit of that? So
Sure,
for
I'll
my
give them my email if they want to talk to me. I could talk to them, see what's. I like being with people. Like, tell me what's going on. Tell me what your students trying to learn. Tell me what you're struggling with at work, so I can give you better information and send you to the program that'll help you. It's Mr. Reader, Mreader. It's one word. There's two R's. Mr. is MR and Reader, Reader, is one word. Mr. Reader, no spaces, .com. No, at MSN, Microsoft Network, MSN.com. You can email me and I will get back to you and see we'll make an appointment. I won't charge you. It'll be a free consultation. And tell me what's happening. Let me hear so I can get involved in it. I could just send you to a website, but I'd rather work with you individually and then send you to the tool. But then you know how to reach me if you need help. You know, I'm a person. I'll help you. I
right,
want to help people. I feel there's a responsibility when you can solve a problem for a person like your daughter. It makes me feel good to
right,
know that I changed her life and she has a destiny that she can fulfill that she never would have gotten to do the way they were dealing with her. I taught for so many years and saw the apathy. I'll give you one more story. I was teaching in one of my classes, and the student who wasn't a truant, I had a lot of truants. He was one of the only kids who showed up every day. He's reading the Bible book upside down and backwards. That's a clue that he isn't able to read. You know, you
right,
notice these things. The book is upside down and backwards. So I went to the head of the guidance department and I said, I think one of my students is illiterate and can't read. And he says, that's Muhammad. He's from Afghanistan. He's never been to school. He doesn't know how to read. Does he come every day? I said, yes. He says, great. We're getting paid every day as long as he comes. He'll be 21 in June and we'll throw him out. I said, well, he's here every day. So you got 6 months that you can work with him to teach him to read because he is here every day. Why don't you help him so when he graduates, at least he'll know how to read? We're getting paid. Don't worry about it. As long as he's here every day, we're getting paid. And we're going to throw him out anyway. I said, but he's here. Don't you tell me how to do my job. That was the assistant principal in charge of guidance whose job was to help the kids. And I had the nerve to suggest that this student who was illiterate and had no idea what he was doing wrong and was desperately trying to learn something should be helped. And who was I to tell him to do his job? And that was what I found in school. And it disgusted me. And that's why I want to help people because too many people have those experiences with their kids like you, and I know I can make a
I believe
difference. I
that.
can help them.
Right. I believe that, any governmental funds should follow the student and into their educational path that they want, and not because it's a public school. I can go into a lot about that, but I'm trying not to get political on my podcast.
No, no, that's a bad idea. We don't want to. I get along with everybody. I'm pretty liberal, and I live in an extremely red area, and I'm
yeah.
friends with everyone. My feeling is it's a democracy. People have their own opinions, and
Yeah.
when they can't believe what they believe, then no one's safe. We should
Right.
all be able
I
to
agree that.
respect other people's opinions. We don't have to agree with them, but we should respect people's right to have a different opinion. That's what makes democracy work.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%. You are just a peach. Let me just tell you, I
Or a
have had
plum.
the best time. A ripe one. I have had the best time. You are amazing. And I encourage moms and dads to go in and seek you out to help, because my kids really are going to be able to benefit from
And
this.
I'll help them because I want to help them. It matters. I actually care. It's
Yeah.
not, I mean, I bought things in past, and it's like I need help, and no one cares. It's like you bought, it's your problem. I mean, you buy a book, you take it home. You can't call the author up and say, "I'm having a problem with your book." It's like you bought the book. What do you want from me? I don't believe in that. I think if you created something to help people, you should stand by it and help them.
I agree. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I look forward to speaking with you off camera. And
And we'll do
uh,
more. I'll show you how to write next time. I wrote my last book in 5 hours, and I had 11-year-olds doing 28-page college level reports in 4 hours.
well, I didn't tell you this, but I am writing a new book. It's going to be a romance novel. So,
Should
but
take
we'll
you a
talk about
week.
that off
A
camera.
week.
It took me a week. Well, I'm on chapter 5 and that took me like 2 days or even not even that. All
That's not
right.
bad. That's not bad. Thank
Thank
you
you
for
so much.
having me.
Thank you for coming. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. All right. Bye bye.